When mentioning fat, more than 90% of us immediately think of losing weight to look slimmer. Wear better clothes and be more confident when standing in front of the mirror or going to crowded places. We are obsessed with the numbers on the scale, with the fat layer that can be pinched on the belly, thighs, or arms, and believe that just becoming thin will solve every problem. But the truth is that appearance only reflects a very small part. The real danger does not lie in what you see, but in the type of fat you cannot feel at all. A person who looks thin or has no excess fat is not necessarily healthier than someone with excess fat who looks a bit chubby. Do you believe it? The fat layer that you can pinch with your fingers is called subcutaneous fat. Although this fat layer makes you feel insecure about your appearance from a medical perspective, it is almost harmless to your long-term health. The real enemy is the type of fat that you cannot see or touch with your hands. That is visceral fat. This type of fat hides deep inside the abdominal cavity, wrapping around vital organs such as the liver, pancreas, and intestines. Even if you look thin, a condition we call TOFI thin. Outside fat inside, you may still possess a dangerous level of visceral fat. In professional circles, visceral fat is not merely stored energy. It acts as a toxic endocrine organ, constantly secreting inflammatory chemicals into the blood. These substances increase the risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and high blood pressure. This is why many people, despite exercising and dieting very strictly, still do not improve their health indicators, simply because they are fighting the wrong type of fat. There are many ways to lose fat, but why should we learn how to lose fat from the Japanese? According to statistics, Japan is the country with the lowest obesity rate in the world and the highest average life expectancy. This is not a coincidence. Since 2008, the Japanese government has enacted a special law called the Metabolic Law. This law requires companies and local governments to measure the waistlines of citizens aged 40 to 74 during annual periodic health checkups. If the waistline exceeds the limit 85 centimeters for men and 90 centimeters for women, they are mandatory to participate in professional nutritional counseling and exercise guidance programs. Thanks to this national-level seriousness, Japanese health experts have developed extremely effective methods that are low-impact but accurately target visceral fat. These methods do not require you to starve yourself or run for hours. Instead, they focus on a combination of specific nutrient groups, timing of water intake, and breathing techniques to activate the metabolism. In this video, I will analyze the entire Japanese protocol. You will learn the Eat the Rainbow strategy to stop fat accumulation, the compounds in green tea that help unlock fat cells, and the 2-minute breathing exercise that has helped millions of Japanese people shrink their waistlines rapidly. This is a science-based plan for you to eliminate visceral fat and master your own metabolism. Visceral fat is not simply excess fat that stays in one place to store energy. It is a type of fatty tissue located deep inside the abdominal cavity, weaving through and tightly wrapping around vital internal organs such as the liver, kidneys, and intestines. Medical experts often call this parasitic fat because it acts like an independent organ, constantly parasitizing and draining your health. Unlike subcutaneous fat, which only affects aesthetics, visceral fat is highly biologically active. It constantly secretes toxic chemicals into the blood, causing hormonal disruption and destroying the metabolic system from within, keeping your body in a state of inflammation, even though you do not feel any obvious pain. A terrifying danger that few people expect is the concept of TOFI, an acronym for thin outside, fat inside, meaning thin on the outside but fat on the inside. You may have small arms, slender legs, and a completely normal weight, but if your waistline protrudes and feels hard to the touch, you are facing a massive health risk. People in the TOFI group are often complacent because they believe they are not obese and therefore do not need to diet or exercise. However, this hidden fat is actually the main cause of sudden strokes. When visceral fat accumulates too much, it increases pressure on the vascular system and promotes the formation of plaque or blood clots, making those who look thin still face life-threatening dangers from acute cardiovascular complications. The most silent destructive mechanism of visceral fat is its ability to cause inflammation and suffocate functional organs. Imagine visceral fat like a noose slowly tightening around your liver and pancreas. Instead of having its blood filtered cleanly, the liver must directly receive fatty acids and inflammatory chemicals flowing from the visceral fat tissue leading to fatty liver disease and impairing the body's ability to process sugar. At the same time, when the pancreas is surrounded and infiltrated by these fat cells, it will be unable to produce or use insulin, effectively pushing you into the cycle of type 2 diabetes. This compression is not just about physical space, but is also a continuous chemical attack, causing vital organs to become exhausted and gradually lose their function over time. Losing visceral fat is not a process of extreme dieting deprivation or cutting out many things you used to like just because of the fear of gaining fat or a dense exercise regime to the point of exhaustion. Instead, it is about understanding your own body along with the mechanism of how visceral fat works so that you can have a reasonable diet and exercise at the right time. Then the body will self-adjust, prioritizing the burning of dangerous internal fat instead of storing it. To thoroughly destroy visceral fat, you need to change the way you perceive food. Instead of only considering food as a source of calories, start considering them as chemical signals sent to your genome. Leading studies in Japan have shown that visceral fat is extremely sensitive to plant pigments. When you ingest brightly colored vegetables, you are providing a group of powerful compounds called carotenoids. These are not merely plant colors but also powerful antioxidants acting as rust removal experts for cells. When free radicals, unstable molecules that cause cell damage and promote fat accumulation, are neutralized by carotenoids, your body will flip an important genetic switch. It starts turning on genes responsible for burning fat for energy and simultaneously turning off genes specialized in storing fat in the abdominal cavity. In contrast to the vibrant world of vegetables is a danger zone that I call beige foods. These are refined starches such as white bread, pasta, cookies, and industrial sweets. Their common characteristic is causing a spike in blood sugar levels immediately after eating, forcing the pancreas to pump out a large amount of insulin to handle it. When insulin levels are constantly high, your body will be locked in a storage state and visceral fat will be the first place to receive this excess energy. Therefore, the simplest but most effective tactic is to fill your plate with natural colors from carrots, bell peppers, spinach, or pumpkin. The more diverse the colors on the plate, the more your insulin resistance decreases, and the less chance visceral fat has to exist. Besides choosing the right types of food, the Japanese possess a secret eating method maintained for centuries, especially in the Okinawa longevity blue zone, which is the Hara Hachi Bu rule. This philosophy advises you to only eat until you feel about 80% full. Modern science has proven that there is a delay of about 20 minutes between the time the stomach is full and the time the brain receives the full signal. If you eat until you feel completely full, it means you have actually consumed about 20% more calories than your actual needs. These excess calories do not disappear but are tightly packed into the abdominal area by the body as visceral fat for backup. By practicing the habit of eating slowly, chewing thoroughly, and proactively stopping when you no longer feel hungry, instead of waiting until you are stuffed, you are helping the digestive system work more easily and blocking the supply for the fat parasite from the start. A final secret weapon in the Japanese menu that I want to share is brown seaweed. Seaweed types like kombu or wakame contain an extremely rare compound called fucoxanthin. This is a substance capable of activating a special protein called UCP1 in fat cells. This protein is responsible for converting white fat, the lazy and toxic visceral fat, into heat for the body to release. This means that even when you are sitting still, the compounds from seaweed are still silently promoting the process of burning visceral fat from within. Incorporating a bowl of miso soup with seaweed into every meal not only helps you feel full faster, thanks to the abundant fiber, but is also a scientific way to maintain a natural fat-burning state throughout the day without needing rapid weight loss drugs. Besides eating the liquids you intake daily, act as a key to help unlock tightly compressed fat cells. The Japanese do not just drink water to quench their thirst, they use drinks as a tool to regulate metabolic rate and prevent fat absorption right in the intestines. The most important drink in this journey is green tea, specifically pure matcha powder or sencha leaf tea. Green tea contains a group of powerful antioxidant compounds called catechins, most notably the active ingredient EGCG. Once in the body, catechins work in two ways. First, they stimulate the central nervous system to promote the oxidation burning of excess fat for energy. Second, they inhibit an enzyme called lipase. Lipase is the enzyme responsible for breaking down fat from food so the intestines can absorb it. By drinking green tea at the right time, you are creating a gatekeeper that blocks some fat from entering the blood, thereby reducing the supply for visceral fat stores. However, you must absolutely use pure and unsweetened tea. Ready-made bottled teas in stores often contain a lot of sugar, which not only negates the tea's benefits, but also directly harms the liver. An extremely important add-on that the Japanese always apply but few people notice is Japanese water therapy. This rule is very simple. Immediately after waking up and before brushing your teeth, drink about 1 to 2 glasses of warm water, about 300 to 600 milliliters. Drinking warm water on an empty stomach helps wake up. The entire digestive system cleans the intestines and activates the lymphatic system to eliminate toxins. Warm water also helps gently increase internal body temperature, which forces the body to expend more energy to rebalance the temperature, thereby promoting natural excess fat burning. To optimize the effectiveness of green tea, I recommend squeezing a few drops of lemon juice into your cup. Scientific studies show that vitamin C in lemons helps protect the catechins in tea from being broken down by the alkaline environment in the digestive system. As a result, your body can absorb this fat-burning agent 5 to 10 times more than drinking regular green tea alone. The combination of the right type of green tea warm water at the right time and a little lemon will create a fat metabolism machine that works persistently throughout the day. Reducing visceral fat will no longer be difficult or harsh if you know more about this exercise regimen, which is equally important. To break down stubborn visceral fat, we need to change our mindset from training for exhaustion to moving to send the correct biological signals to the body. The most common mistake people make is trying to do thousands of crunches or running to the point of exhaustion. But in reality, visceral fat is not sensitive to excessively high-intensity exercises that cause extreme stress. When you force yourself to train too hard, the body releases cortisol, a stress hormone that puts the body in a defensive state and stores even more belly fat. Conversely, visceral fat is destroyed most effectively when you move in the moderate intensity zone, equivalent to about 75% of your maximum cardiovascular capacity. You do not need complex measuring devices. You just need to use the talk test to identify this golden zone. That is when you exercise at a level where you can say full sentences but sound slightly out of breath and feel your heart beating faster than normal. If you can still sing comfortably, that intensity is too light. But if you are so tired that you cannot utter a single word, you are training too hard and inadvertently increasing cortisol levels. Maintaining brisk walking, cycling, or swimming at this 75% level for about 45 minutes per session will help the body prioritize using visceral fat as its primary fuel source. However, moving muscles alone is not enough. The key factor determining the rate of fat breakdown is the amount of oxygen you provide to the cells. Chemically, fat is composed of oxygen, carbon, and hydrogen. When oxygen enters the body and contacts fat cells, it breaks down fat into carbon dioxide to be exhaled and water to be excreted through sweat or urine. This means that the more oxygen you intake in a controlled manner, the faster you burn fat. This is why the Japanese long breath technique has become a global phenomenon. You only need to spend 2 to 5 minutes each day performing this simple exercise. Stand with one foot in front of the other, shift almost all your weight to the back leg, and lean slightly backward to stretch the abdominal area. Begin by inhaling deeply through your nose for 3 seconds while raising both hands high. Then exhale strongly through your mouth for 7 seconds while lowering your hands and tightening your entire abdominal muscles to push all the air out. This powerful and prolonged exhalation not only provides an abundant amount of oxygen to the blood, but also creates significant pressure on the core area, helping to activate deep muscle groups inside to support the visceral fat-burning process. The combination of walking at 75% intensity and daily breathing exercises creates a powerful dual impact, helping you shrink your waistline sustainably without having to perform punishing exercises that harm your joints or cardiovascular system. One of the biggest Japanese secrets to maintaining a slim waist does not lie in the gym, but in the balance of the pelvis itself. Many people, despite trying hard with diets and exercise, still have a protruding lower belly. In fact, this is often not just fat, but also the result of a tilted pelvis, which pushes internal organs forward and creates the feeling of a larger than normal stomach. To fix this, Toshiki Fukutsudzi developed a simple posture correction method that brings amazing results using only a towel. When the skeletal frame is brought to the zero position, its natural balanced position, the internal organs are rearranged stably, helping the waist shrink significantly without using muscle strength. To perform this method, roll a towel into a cylinder about 40 centimeters long and 7 to 10 centimeters thick, then secure it with a string so the towel does not come undone. Lie on your back on a hard, flat surface like the floor and place the towel roll exactly at the lumbar position, directly behind the navel. The key lies in the position of your hands and feet. Keep your legs shoulder-width apart, but turn your feet inward so the two big toes touch each other. At the same time, raise your hands over your head palms down on the floor and let the two little fingers touch each other. Try to maintain this position for 5 minutes every day so that the entire spine and pelvis are stretched and adjusted back to the correct position. Although you may initially feel some tension as the bones and joints are being repositioned, this feeling will disappear as the body gets used to it. When finishing the 5 minutes, you should absolutely not stand up suddenly. Instead, roll over to one side and then slowly sit up to protect the spine. Maintaining the habit of lying on the towel regularly every day not only helps you have a naturally flat stomach, but also supports reducing back pain and improving standing posture, making your figure look more graceful and taller. This is the final piece that completes the process of destroying visceral fat and sustainably reshaping your body. Effective visceral fat loss lies in discipline with small habits rather than heavy training. Combine colorful nutrition, deep breathing, and posture correction to activate natural metabolism. Start the 7-day plan now, in the morning. Drink warm water and breathe deeply